So Dasharo user group, Dasharo Community Status presentation, it is all about what Dasharo team is doing and what Dasharo team conference plan to attend, what kind of, how many issues we have with various repository, how we dealing with those issues, how the core boot and EDK2 downstream forks doing, and how we managing decreasing the number of patches which we maintain. There is initiative that I started thanks to the motivation from various people in community, which is called Dasharo Patch QE initiative. I will explain a little bit about Patch QE repository which we created, and then we will talk a little bit about the statistics regarding upstreaming and regarding matrix activity. So in case of events, like we already passed Q1 and Q2, but just to let you know, like, of course, we did the dev room on FOSDEM. You know that the presentations are public. You can go to the events.3mdeb.com and you can find FOSDEM section, FOSDEM 2024, where you will have links to all the presentations which were made during the FOSDEM by 3mdeb people, and not only also by our guests. Of course, then we had Dasharo user group number 5. And then there was FOSS Asia. I was in Vietnam presenting Dasharo open source firmware for the Vietnamese open source community and students. It was a very interesting trip. I also met there couple interesting people. Maybe there will be some interesting outcome of this relation following this year. Then Michał Żygowski attended the Zen Developers Summit, where he presented trench boot status and also some demos on protected platform, but I will tell you a little bit more about that during the roadmap presentation. And right now we are at Dasharo user group 6. Yeah, as I said, you can go to the events.3mdeb.com and find all the videos. I guess Zen Summit video is not yet ready. Presentation is already linked, so you can check the presentation, what happens there. But then video will be published, I guess, in 2 weeks or something. What about next quarters? So next thing we don't know yet, but I guess like there are 2 days left to close the CFP for OSFC. At least like one member of 3mdeb trying to go to the OSFC. We will see if the CFP will be approved. Maybe there will be some more attendance, but right now we're planning just one person. Then we have Dasharo user group. Right after that, it would be around, I guess, like 12th or 13th September. Then we have Linux Plumbers Conference, which overlaps with KubeOS Summit. So essentially, like a Wednesday, 18th there is Linux Plumbers, and 20th on Friday, 20th September KubeOS Summit starts. So of course I invite you to both events. I don't know how much you are into Linux kernel hacking. Linux Plumber is dedicated to Linux kernel hackers. We doing their system security and boot micro conference. Yeah, and this is done with Oracle. And then on KubeOS Summit, of course, like there is CFP open. After that, we have like short break, and at the end of the October, I'm planning to give some probably presentations, but mainly training during the Hardware I/O in Netherlands. And then we're planning attending Kyoto Summit. And of course, at the end of November in Q4, we will have Dasharo user group 8. In case of Linux Plumbers Conference, if you are interested in kernel hacking, you have some topics related with system Linux kernel booting or security, then and of course those are kind of challenges or something that you would like to discuss with the maintainers, then feel free to send proposals. The CFP is already open, and I guess it would be open until mid of July. In case KubeOS Summit 2024, CFP is also open. You can go to the cfp3mdeb.com and find KubeOS Summit 2024. and then submit proposal. We are open to any topics related CubesOS, but not only, because there can be kind of like virtualization related, security related, hardware, especially with some focus on security or some focus on optimization of the virtualization. That's the topics that we're looking for. Of course, if you are UI UX person, this is also very welcome area of topics, because improvements in UI UX in CubesOS are very important. Without that, the adoption of CubesOS is not possible. The event will happen 20th to 22nd September in Berlin. Yeah. And of course, we will do FOSDEM 2025. Of course, the call for dev rooms will be open probably closer to the end of the year, but definitely we want to continue the work on the FOSDEM dev room. Okay, maybe a little bit of statistics. Yeah, as you can see, the number of issues growing faster than we can fix it. So we were able to close 46 issues in the Dasharo issues repository, but 129 were added. So we essentially at the growing rate. Yeah. So what I can say, like there are probably some outstanding bugs which need cleanup, but yeah, as someone said, the number of bugs does not indicate the quality. I guess it indicates the activity of the community and how much they can figure out of the problems, how much they can report. So it's very good that we have active community that reports bugs, and yeah, and we're trying to fix as much as possible. And depending on the resources that we have, and these resources of course depends on the support of commercial customers, support of you, support of bigger enterprises. Based on that, we can close bugs. In case of your activity in the bugs, there is like over 600 comments. There are 16 new contributors, of course, excluding those coming from 3MDeb. And the top contributors didn't change since last time. Of course, Wessel got like huge activity because he always reporting and replying to comments regarding Nova Custom. Thierry always active. Zirblazer, Rene, and Firminator. Those people contributed a lot to Dasharo issues, and I would like to thank them for all this commitment and help in growing Dasharo. In case of Dasharo downstream of core boot, and how many PRs we have, how the development's going on, we were able to create 46 new PRs. Then we merged 19 and we closed 15. So you can see that we were able to deal with like around 34, but 46 were created. So we're still growing. The number of PRs growing. The number of PRs that we didn't manage to close or didn't manage to merge still growing. So we have this growing bars of PRs. But of course, this is like some indicator of our activity. I guess maybe more important indicator is how we manage to upstream stuff. And since we want to try to improve our upstreaming effort, we had this discussion with Andrew, with Christian, with Sergey, that how to deal with that, how to change our approach to manage Dasharo downstream versus core boot versus CDK2. And one of the idea is to manage patches in the repository. There is special tool for it. One is called Guild. The one which can cooperate with Git is called Guild. And we tried to do a proof of concept which address those concerns and try to improve patches manageability. So there is issue 310, which is RFC for how to improve the upstreaming effort. And there we had discussion, and now there is proof of concept which I implemented doing the PC Engine's Coreboot plus UEFI Dasharo release, which is still in progress, but I already managed to rebase all the patches. Like, first of all, clean up all the patches for PC Engines, then rebase those patches on most recent Coreboot tag. And I had to say it's quite nice way of dealing with patches, but quite different than usual Git workflow. And for the pros and cons and discussion between Dasharo developers and also Andrew, who contributed to that effort, you can read what kind of concerns we had, how we trying to use it. And by the way, this is something that is used by CubesOS, something that is used by Zen. So we will see if we can learn from that. So what are the current challenges with what we tried so far? First of all, the branching model. We had this very complex branching model where we had a branch for every customer, for every platform. And this was very difficult to manage. Of course, moving changes, rebasing caused a lot of issues. Then synchronization issues was very, very effort intensive. Various branches were coming from different Coreboot tags. This was error prone. And of course, sometimes we had the situation that someone trying to do the release and forget about some patches and something didn't work on different branch. This is essentially the same problem that all the independent BIOS vendors had with UEFI. And yeah, we have to somehow create solution to not have the same problems. So then we kind of tried mono branch. This is current approach before we can switch to patch QE. Even if I don't know if we will even switch to patch QE, because that right now it's not at the proof of concept. But right now we have mono branch, and mono branch has its own problems because of course some patches are merged upstream. Some patches have comments upstream which would require modifications. And then of course, if you're trying to modify some patch which is like in between, and we have a lot of patches on Dasharo branch, then you have problem of rebase and potentially destroying changes or making problems for other contributors to the mono branch. Yeah. So also, if we have some improvements upstream, which we will like to integrate in our mono branch, this also causes problems. With the Guild, with the patch management system, it's way easier. But I guess I should move on because probably Maciej waiting for his turn. But anyway, if you want to talk. Okay, sure. So, but anyway, we still want to prove it. There are some pros and cons. So, for example, Sergey said that you can do everything with Git, and he's right. Like everything can be done with Git, but the problem is that the Git full of multiple people that working in Dasharo team is not always at the same level. And to be honest, like it's very hard to correctly juggle with hundreds of patches. With Guild, you have very simple situation. You have essentially stack of patches, and if you want to modify some patch, you just like pop all the patches which are on top, modify the patch, do the Guild refresh. This update the patch file which is tracked in Git, and then you can apply everything on top. And in that way, you essentially you can always have the version which is under review in upstream. You can have in the tree. And based on that, of course, you can put a tag on that and then do the release based on like a stack of patches. Okay. Yeah, and this methodology is used also in Linux by some maintainers in CubesOS, in Zen server, in Trenchboot, in Debian. So yeah, I guess we should learn from those who already dealing with this problem for much longer than we are. Yeah, and hypothesis for the benefits is like that we will have like better management of the changes. We can reduce complexity and errors in merging things upstream. Also taking upstream things to merge into our tree. as well as upstreaming the changes that we have already. And of course, we would like to have improved consistency across multiple platforms configurations. In case of Dasharo core boot and upstreaming effort, we totally upstreamed from the beginning of Dasharo team existence, or I would say it was even not called Dasharo team back then, because it was just firmware team or embedded firmware team a couple years ago. We contributed like 40,000 lines of code. Last quarter, we contributed almost 4,000 lines of code. And you can see that last quarter was very active in terms of contribution, both adding and removing lines from core boot. So yeah, so we decrease our technical debt, but the problem is, of course, that we develop much more. And the delta, which is right now, is spread across 527 files. There are 25,000 lines of difference between 240201 tag of core boot and current Dasharo branch. I would like to highlight some notable contributions from Dasharo team. Michał Kopeć contributed over 1,000 lines of code doing the copy of the EC support. This is the same thing that Puris did. We essentially want to have control on the code of the EC. And of course, System 76 did the initial implementation, but now those implementations go in their own directions. Then Philip did the contribution regarding Meteor Lake to Intel tool, and then Sergey did some vboot with vboot cleanup regarding TPM 1 and 2 support. In case of EDK2, we created 17 PRs, closed 10, so seven more open, as you can see on the bar chart. In case of stars, we're still growing, and like I'm very happy that the recent growth is very steep. So yeah, Dasharo gaining popularity on GitHub. In case of matrix communication messages, this is probably standard. The matrix general channel it has around 2,000 lines, 2,000 messages per quarter. I don't know, maybe this is a lot, maybe it's not. But we gained a lot of users. We gained 54 users in Dasharo matrix space. So I would like to welcome everyone who recently joined the Dasharo matrix space. And most active contributors are all the same. So nothing changed, but thanks to Zirblazer, thanks to Collector, Han Etzer, Xuta, Xma, I don't know how to spell that. It's I have to ask at some point. And Demi for all the contribution to the matrix channel. Yeah, and this is how the growth looking like on the chart. And in case of other active channels, Random, Support, and Dasharo Developers VPAP are the most active channels in the Dasharo matrix space. Yeah, I guess that's it. I don't know if Maciej is ready.